in Erie? What about in Erie specifically? Mason.
Oh, Erie. No, the peninsula.
The peninsula, so that's an important place. So that's an important landform that we have here in Erie, okay. So that's an important natural landform. What about it along?
Maybe like the Warner Theater.
The Warner Theater, yeah, that has some history behind it, okay. So we have the Warner Theater. What's another one? What is another one? Lydia.
Fire station.
The fire station. Mm-hmm. That's important. Parker?
The Erie Peninsula.
That's
the same thing, Parker.
Okay. We'll take two more. Helen, give me one more. Fourth grade. Eyes and ears on Helen. She's talking. City Hall. All right, so we have City Hall. See, got one more. Benny, give to me. The Erie Zoo. Yeah, that's an important place in Erie. Wouldn't you guys say? So, all these different places that we talked about here in Erie are things that mean something to you. They're important. It's important to the community around it because everybody around here loves going to the peninsula, loves going to the zoo. We need a fire station, right? So all these places have meaning to them. And so fourth grade, today we're going to talk about what these types of places are. And we're not just going to talk about them in Erie, but we're going to talk about them down in the southeast region. Mia.
What about Klein?
Klein? Well, it's important to all of us here, right?
It's important to Harbor Beach.
It is important to Harbor Beach, yeah. So fourth grade, today we're going to talk about some important landmarks in the southeast region. We're going to learn about what landmarks are. But first, erase your boards. So erase them. Cap those markers and push your markers and erasers back into your bins. And once you've done that, let's come up into our learning lines.
Our house is like an important thing of Erie.
All right, up on the carpet in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1/2, 1/3, 1/4, 0. Okay, so everybody should be in their learning lines. Let's scoot back a little bit. Let's scoot back. Scoot back. Okay, so fourth grade. Today we are going to be learning about landmarks. But before we do that, I want to show you something. Oh, not that. Give me 1 second. Okay. From the beginning. All right. So fourth grade, let's take a look at this. So Mr. Burkett took a trip all the way back in 9th grade. I went to one of my favorite places to go to. I went to Boston, Massachusetts. Can anybody tell me what Boston is? What's Boston? Lydia? It is the capital of Massachusetts. So remember when we were learning about the Northeast region, right? So Mr. Burkett, he loves going up to Boston. That was Mr. Burkett in 9th grade in the top left over here. So as you can see, he was pretty small. I do. I'm actually a Pirates fan. But because I was in Boston, I wanted to visit a really cool place. I wanted to go to Fenway Park. Fenway Park is the oldest baseball stadium. It is found in Boston, and it has the Green Monster, which is the tallest outfield wall in the MLB, which is Major League Baseball Association. So, do you think that – I have a question for you guys. So this is a very historic place because it's the oldest baseball stadium. There's a lot of history with it, right? So I have a question for you. Turn and talk to the person next to you. Do you think Fenway Park is a popular and important place in Boston?
Yes.
Turn and talk. Do you think it's an important place?
Yeah, talk to you. Fred, okay, I'll join a drink with 3 of us. No! Hello! Hello, Lord! Probably popular? Yeah.
All right, eyes and ears back here in 3, 2, 1. Can you hear my voice? Are you sure you can hear that?
Yeah.
Are we shouting out?
No. Well, yes, because you're telling us to.
All right, who can tell me? Do you think Fenway's important and why? Why or why not? Ellie.
I feel like it's important because it's an old place, and like it might have been like one of the first stadiums.
So it's got a little bit of history behind it. Yeah. So you think it might be important to Boston because of that? Alana, why or why not?
I think it is like important and popular because of the green monster.
Yeah.
That's another reason.
It is pretty well known.
mascot. The
So,
green.
All right, one more.
One
more. Parker, I saw your hand up.
It's important to the Red Sox community,
Yeah.
and that they're lucky they have a field and they're not poor little boys.
Yes. So it is a place where it does have some significance, and it is important to the city of Boston, right? So, guess what? Fenway Park is a landmark of Boston, Massachusetts. Who was from that? So, what exactly is a landmark? Well, fourth grade, we're going to be talking about today about some of the landmarks in the southeast region. Before we do that, fourth grade, I need everybody's eyes and ears looking at me. I need to see everybody's eyes. Everybody's eyes. I see you. Mason, I don't see you. I see everyone now. Okay. Fourth grade, we are going to be talking about the landmarks of the southeast region. We're going to learn what a landmark is, too. And then we're actually going to get to kind of research our own landmarks of the southeast region. That would be Disney World. We're going to look into that. You guys can get to pick the Kennedy Space Center, which is really cool.
What's that?
Or you guys will get to pick Busch Gardens. Okay? Yeah. Universal? Well, we are going to talk about that too. There are so many landmarks in the southeast region. It would be impossible to talk about them all in one class. But all right. Yes, Blake.
Could you do Philadelphia?
Was Philadelphia in the southeast region?
No. Sadly not. It's in the west.
It's in the
northeast.
So, all right, fourth grade. A landmark. So a landmark is an important place that can be man-made. It can be historic, or it can be created by nature. So it doesn't have to have all of these. It could be a place that's historic, so like Fenway Park. It could be a place that's man-made. Fenway Park would be man-made, but is Fenway Park made by nature? No. Right? It's not made by nature. Now, let's think about some of the things in the northeast region. Do you think Mount Washington is a landmark?
Yes.
Is that made by nature?
No, the people cut out the heads.
Northeast region, excuse me.
The people cut out the heads. What heads?
Oh, you're talking about Mount Rushmore. Mount Rushmore where the presidents are up?
Yeah, where the
Yeah.
Grinch lives.
So that would be a landmark. That would be man-made and created by nature because they use the mountains, right? All right, so these landmarks are important to the areas around them, so they have an impact on the areas around them, right? So let's think about Disney World for a second, okay? So Disney World is important to where it's at, which is Orlando, Florida, right? Now, what if we brought a Disney World up to Erie? Do you think it would be as popular?
No.
No? Do you think it would be as successful?
No.
Why?
You can't.
Wait. Why? I saw Molly's hand go first. Why?
Because it's not hot all year round, so it won't be open all year round.
I love that you brought up because the climate in the southeast region is too hot, right? So, or it's hot all the time, so it could stay open year round. Could we do that in negative 20-degree weather last week?
No.
No, I don't think so.
Totally.
Right? Blake, tell me why.
Because if the rides, so they're new, so they don't know if they're gonna fall off or stay on.
Okay. Well, they test those.
I
see your point. Ellie, give me one more.
Our region's smaller too, so there may be less people that will come.
Ellie, air high five for that. Yes, it's not nearly going to be as popular because everybody vacations to Florida, right? Everybody vacations to Florida. Oh, I want to go down to Florida and skip on the sandy beach and then go to Disney World. Nobody's skipping on our beaches going to Disney World here, right? Now, there are really cool things to do in Erie, but that's why some landmarks are important to the areas around them because they impact those areas. Disney World brings in tons and tons and tons and tons of tourists. In Erie, it wouldn't do that as much. Egan.
What if this kind of off topic? Well, so what if the whole USA flipped around?
Uh-huh.
Then when they moved to Pennsylvania, then Pennsylvania would be.
Egan, I have no idea. But let's put a pin in that thought, and we'll come revisit it later. Okay. So, a landmark. We've now talked about landmarks. Now, let's talk about some of the landmarks in the Southeast. We have the Coca-Cola Museum.
No.
This is one of them.
Are those lips? Are those lips?
Hey yo.
Those are not lips. Okay.
Look.
I'm not quite sure what they are, but I know they're
Those
not
are
lips.
eyeballs.
All right, 4th grade. So we have the Coca-Cola Museum in Atlanta, Georgia. So that's a cool landmark in the Southeast, right?
What is that?
Lydia?
I've been to the Atlanta.
Oh, you've been to the Georgia Aquarium in
Yeah.
Atlanta?
Oh my
Wait,
God.
guys, let's listen up to Lydia. Lydia, can you tell us one thing that you thought was awesome when you went to the Georgia Aquarium?
They had whale sharks.
They had whale sharks in the Georgia Aquarium? Who here wants to go to the Georgia Aquarium? Just raise your hand.
Oh yeah.
Just raise your hand. I think Mr. Burkett wants to as well. So these are some really cool landmarks for the Southeast region, right? Pretty cool.
Coca-Cola Museum.
All right. What are some other ones? Well, we have SeaWorld in Orlando, Florida.
Yeah. That's so beautiful.
So SeaWorld, it's really cool. That's down in Orlando, Florida. We have Universal Studios in Orlando, Florida.
Oh, that's me something. You went to Disney. That's where Universal Studios is.
So we have Universal Studios and we have SeaWorld. Okay? Yes. Okay. So these are also two very important and historic landmarks in the Southeast region. Now, do you think a landmark has to be popular to be a landmark like Universal Studios? Because everybody goes to Universal Studios, right? Do we think it has to be popular?
Not really.
No.
Does it have to be man-made?
No.
Now, does it have to at least have one of those characteristics? Be man-made, be historic, or be a landmark?
Yes.
Or a landform? Yes. That's what makes a landmark. So these are man-made and popular, but are these made by nature? Well, kind of. You got animals.
What is sea?
You get to see SeaWorld is a
Plants?
giant aquarium where they do like demonstrations and stuff. It's really cool.
Plants? Do they like carve in the water? Do they let the animals in water whenever they pass?
All right, Keegan.
So what would
McDonald's. Well,
it's not a lot.
good question. Mrs. Bauer, Keegan asked me a question. Do you think McDonald's would be considered a landmark?
But not to be funny.
No, because here's the deal, guys. A landmark is not just a place that people like. It's not just a place that people enjoy. A landmark either is very historic, it's very popular because it's something like nothing else in nature, like Niagara Falls, right? That is popular because there's nothing else like it. So it's a natural landmark because it's unique in some way. All right. These places are tourist attractions, but they're also landmarks. So no, a McDonald's would not be. However, if it is the first McDonald's that was ever built, that might be a landmark. Okay, so that's a very, very clear distinction. Somebody also mentioned Klein Elementary earlier. That is not a landmark. It is important to us, but it is not a landmark. People do not travel from all over the world to come to Klein Elementary. It is not a landmark.
It's amazing here. Oh, they should.
All right. Any questions so far? Fourth grade. Any questions? Okay.
This isn't really a question because for some reason I thought that Baltimore would be one, even though it's its own thing. But it technically wouldn't because
Yes,
there's
no, it
water
is.
parks. There's more than one water
Well,
park.
but do people come and visit it because it's
Yes.
a place that's
No.
fun and exciting?
They know, but we don't know that.
People do come and visit. That would be a that would be a landmark of Erie. People come. So if let's say a visitor came to Erie and you wanted to give them all these ideas about things that you can do, the things that we mentioned to them, the things that we suggested to them. We have the peninsula. You could mention Waldemere. Okay. There's a bunch of different ones that we could do. Okay.
Warner Theater. That's historic, so people would go there.
That's like on the.
But isn't there only one of kinds of someone came and they had a child? Wouldn't you recommend crime school so that child could go to crime school?
All right, 4th grade. So right now,
Oh my gosh.
I need everybody's attention. Okay? Because we're actually going to now go into our activity about landmarks, where we're going to research around landmarks. Okay? When I say go, you are going to go back to your seat, get your Chromebook out, and log on to Schoology and go to the social studies section. Capiche? Go.
What is, wait, is this, I should have a special word like SpongeBob. What is Busch Gardens?
Busch Gardens?
Oh yeah,
All right, let's get those Chromebooks out, 4th grade. You're getting your Chromebooks out. You're going to social studies and then going to the southeast region. Up on the board are directions on how to get to the assignment, okay? Blake right now, raise your hand. Blake right now is passing around the worksheets that you guys are going to be using to conduct your research, right? All right, keep passing those out. We can finish.
You have it.
Shark bait. All right, that means your attention is up at the front of the room. All right, so once you have your Chromebook out and you are in the southeast region in the social studies section, you're going to click on the folder labeled landmarks. There are 3 different articles that you can read from. There's one about Disney World, there's one about Busch Garden, and there's one about the Kennedy Space Center. You only have to pick one of those to fill your worksheet out with, okay? So you will pick one of the 3. You will write down the landmark name, the state that it's in the city, and then you will draw a picture of it and write down 3 facts about your landmark, okay? Once you are done, make sure your name is on it and make sure you turn it into the image. You do not need headphones. All right, you guys can start.